right, quick update on the Vet. Did a little testing, and I had my alternator checked out at Napa. Alternator tests fine. So, and it looks relatively brand new. I mean, it looks really not that old. I went through and redid the grounds again, so let me flip the camera around and show you where I'm at and what I found now. All right, here we are, back at Project Cheap C6. Okay, now, what I found, so what I did is I went ahead and recleaned all the grounds, okay? So the grounds are gonna be good. I inspected the wires, so far we're all right on the harness grounds here. There's two down here under the battery tray. Those two right there that go to the frame, okay? And then we got one right here. Now, what I found, I was gonna replace the battery cables and the ground cables, but unfortunately, they're connected to the harness on this vehicle. I don't like that, okay? So at this point, this is where I'm at. So I went ahead, and this is the second time now I'm pulling the fuse block off. I wanted to go back in and make sure I didn't miss anything. I did find one wire that's got two burn spots. I found this burn spot in the wire loom right there. And so it's got a burnt wire right here. So I'm gonna get in my book here in a minute and look and see what this one goes to. But as you can see there, that wire is burnt. See if I can get it to focus. Okay, all right. There we go. Okay, burnt there. It's also burnt here. Now, I was trying to repair this and I didn't look down far enough. So this repair I made a couple days ago, just temporary, and I had to go pick up some more stuff. So I'm gonna redo this. I'm actually gonna put a whole new wire in there. And I'm gonna chop this whole 1 foot section out. So I'm gonna go ahead and unpin that. I need to make sure I have the right pin or another one that I could use. But this is where we're at. So I had a burnt section there. And also another one is gonna be this. Now this, I'm not exactly sure what this one goes for. I think this may be either the alternator or the starter. But for some reason, this is a black cable off the harness, factory. Now all the power cables off this harness from the factory, the black ones are grounds, the orange and the reds are all hot cables. This is the main battery cable right here, coming right out of the harness, and that is a black, red and orange. The ground cable for the battery is two blacks, right here, okay? Two black cables, and that's the grounds. Now, I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm trying to find it in the book right now. But this cable has actually already been repaired once. So this is two electrical issues I've found so far in this car that I got. Okay, so it looks like they chopped this and then they soldered it and put a bigger gauge wire in here. So this part of the cable looks fine. The connection looks fine, but I'm not exactly sure what it's for. If it's for the starter, if it's for the alternator, or what. Now this connects to the positive. So I think it goes to the alternator. And then down on the other side, it goes to the starter. But I was really hoping. The problem is this gets so hot down here that these wires are really brittle. So you gotta be really careful. And so I wanted to go through the rest of the grounds. I'm gonna make some repairs. I might chop this off and reconnect a new cable, but I want to find out exactly what that's for, because I don't like how it's a black cable going to the positive. Yeah, I don't like that. Right? Color coded's best. Okay. You don't want to be guessing on your electrical system. So let me make these repairs, and that's just kind of a quick update of where I'm at. I checked all the fuses, the relays do seem to get pretty hot. This relay box seems to get pretty hot. So let me go ahead and get up to that. I just want to give you guys a quick update. All right, peace. All right, quick update. So we went through, we took the engine ground off, and both these terminals from the negative battery terminal, one goes from battery to the frame. Then we have battery to the engine block. Okay, now I split this open. This ground looks all right. It actually is shiny and clean and looks okay. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this one anyway, just for the sake of doing all the terminals. So I'm gonna do that. On the power side though, now we look at, so I had to take the harness apart quite a bit to get this. So one thing to keep in mind on these vehicles, the way they do the loom and stuff like that, it's not like on the trucks where you can just swap out your battery cable, right? You know, you just unbolt it here, unbolt it there, boom. Oh no, on these cars, I tried to save as much of the wire loom as I could, but it's almost impossible with the amount of heat. So this is battery positive to the starter. Okay, so this cable is completely toast, completely discolored all the way down. I peeled it back, probably it's maybe 4 inches. I'll peel it back further, but you can tell the whole cable is white. We're gonna replace that. Then we have battery positive to the fuse box B+ terminal. This one I haven't even peeled it open yet to take a look, but I will. And we got one more I'm trying to find. This one is the one that I really want to replace. But one thing to keep in mind on these vehicles, if you don't know about the C6 Corvette, they get hot, okay? Like, the heat from the engine is really hard on the electrical system, okay? Things get heat soaked. It's a pretty common thing. I didn't realize it was that big of a problem, but I'm willing to put in the work and do it. But a lot of this, I mean, I've had to take a lot of the loom off the harnesses, and I mean, if you look at these wires here, a lot of them are really hard. They're really hard, really brittle. Somebody's already been in here and heat wrapped these, I think. But so we got one more I want to replace, and that's going to be this guy here. So this guy right here, I do not like that. A small wire to a big wire. Now here's the thing I'm a little bit confused on. I got in the book. Now in my book here, it tells me, let me close this before I waste it. Okay. My book says an automatic C6 LS2 2006 to 2007 that you have 3 grounds. Okay, you have 3 grounds on the battery negative. So now I'm like, okay, I only have 2. Okay, unless when they're saying 3 grounds, they're saying the battery negative to the frame, the battery negative to the block, and maybe they're counting these 2 body grounds here, frame grounds. Okay, but that's not what I'm thinking. Now you look at the positive circuit. You have the battery positive, and that runs all the way to the starter. Then you also have the battery the other positive that goes from the starter to pin C15, or it basically runs to the B+ terminal on the fuse block, right? It runs to the B+. Okay, that's the power terminal. Other than that, there's no other power. So now I'm wondering, did somebody fuck something up on this car? Okay, trying to keep it PG-13, but all right. Somebody, I'm thinking now, this ground, this has to be my 3rd ground, and somebody had it wired up to the positive, is what I'm thinking, because this is a black cable. From GM, they're not gonna put, at least I don't think, but they're not gonna put a black wire as a ground, right? They're not gonna put a black wire for power. It's gonna be red or orange or something like that. Okay, I mean, unless you're talking about spark plug wires or something like that. I could be mistaken, don't mark my words here. But according to the book, there's 3 grounds. Okay, they go to the battery terminal. You have 2 power wires. So I have 2 power wires, but I'm missing a ground. And now I'm wondering, maybe that's why some of these wires are getting fried up, is because somebody went in there and hooked it up wrong. So right now I'm trying to get it sorted out. Okay, so I'm going to repair this burnt wire there. I'm going to repair this wire here. These wires are okay. I mean, they're a little bit burnt up, but let me see if I can't. So I need to go get some heat tape, some more wire loom, and I mean the harness. Let me show you something on this wire loom. It is really bad. I mean, there's some really hard spots in here. I mean, this is crispity, crunchity. I mean, it's, some of them are like you can't even squeeze them. So that's where we're at. I'm really hoping this sorts out our electrical issue. But we have one more ground before I go to the parts store, and that's, looks like it goes also through the main harness here. And this is just solid as a rock. So I'm trying to cut it open, and I need to find this one right here. And I'm thinking this is our ground wire, but I'm going to confirm it before I hook it up, because we're only supposed to have 2 hot wires. Okay, and that's battery to starter, battery to B plus terminal on the thing. The other hot wire is going to be the alternator wire. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull that one too, just so we are covered. Okay, so let me get back to it. That's just an update. But here's one thing. Whether you get a good deal or you spend a lot of money on this vehicle, you're going to want to go ahead and factor in your budget of about $1,500 to $1,000. You know, $1,000 to $2,000 just on when you get the vehicle. I don't care if it's newer, older, lower miles, not as many. Factor in that amount of money just on making sure everything is safe electrically, that you're not going to ruin the whole car, right? At this point, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm thinking in my head like, let me get online real quick and see how much a brand new wire harness is. I mean, it's going to be some electrical repair we have to do on this. So just one thing to keep in mind. These have a lot of electrical, they can have a lot of electrical issues. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind. So we're going to finish this up, and I'll show you guys what I do when I get back from the store. All right, another update. I still haven't made it to the parts store. I had to do a couple other things real quick too, but what I'm going to do to gain access to this harness or the power wire for the alternator is I'm going to go ahead and take off the coil packs. I'm going to go ahead and take off the intake manifold. That way I can actually get access back there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do something with the motor mounts and all that, and I'd rather just pull the coil packs, I'd rather pull the coil packs, and I'd rather pull the intake manifold off. Then I can go ahead and split that loom up and the harness in the back. Hopefully I can get access to it now, or once I get the rest done, and then that way I can go ahead and get that power wire out of there. And what I'm going to do, instead of running it through the back through the harness, let me flip the camera around. Instead of running, I'm pretty damn sure, so I tore the harness back a little more, and as you can see, there's red wire. So it was a power. I was getting like thinking that they hooked up a ground to the battery positive, but really they must have just not been able to get the right, you know, get a red cable. So I'm happy about that. But I'm pretty sure this is the alternator wire right there, that red one. And right in between here, I got it already pulled all the way back and off. So it's right behind the manifold that disconnect the oil pressure sensor. And right in there, about a foot section, it's just tough. And so I don't want to be yanking on the whole harness, the main harness, really hard. It's already brittle and stuff. So I pulled off the coil pack. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to pull the intake off, disconnect the fuel system right here, and pull the intake, and that should give me access where I can get down there and cut the harness open. And I'll yank this whole wire out. And then when I get a new one, I'm going to route it how the Chevy truck is. It's going to go alternator. Wire is going to go through here, and I'll feed it down here, through here, and straight to the battery. That way I don't ever have to mess with that again. Because especially with how much voltage is going through here, the amperage, it produces a lot of heat on its own. And for simplicity's sake, I really don't want to have to, you know, this is going to be a one-time thing anyway, but I want to have easy access like I do on the Chevy truck going forward, right? You don't want to have to sit here and do all this. So let me yank the other side off. That's a quick update. Then I got all the cables marked, labeled, so I know I need a 30-inch there. I need a 32-inch here. I need a 24, and I need a 30. So one more cable. We're gonna upgrade our big three. I'm gonna upgrade them real good. And yeah, all right.